The moment people feel your intelligence, the room changes. Not because intelligence is dangerous, because visible intelligence threatens ego. Most people think being the smartest person in the room gives you power. They're wrong. In real life, obvious intelligence creates friction. It makes insecure people defensive. It makes average people suspicious. And it makes manipulators see you as a threat. That is why smart people get attacked, ignored, mocked, or quietly pushed out. Not because they are wrong, because they make other people feel smaller than they want to feel. Here's the part most people miss. The problem is not your intelligence. The problem is letting people feel it too early. The moment they feel the gap, the social game changes. Now it is no longer about truth. It is about ego, status, self-protection. And once that shift happens, people stop listening to what you said and start reacting to what your clarity makes them feel. So before we go further, tell me in the comments, what gets punished faster in real life? Honesty, competence, or intelligence? Stay until the end. Because by the end of this video, you'll know the 5 signs you're the smartest person in the room. And the Stoic rule that lets you protect your edge without painting a target on your back. Sign 1. You see the pattern before everyone else. In a meeting, people are still talking in circles. You already know what will fail. On social media, you can tell in 10 seconds which post is fake, manipulative, or empty. In relationships, you notice the emotional pattern before the other person is willing to admit it. You are not faster because you talk more. You are faster because you see structure. And when you point it out too early, people get uncomfortable. Because being right too soon feels like exposure to people who are still trying to understand the room. Sign 2. People get defensive when you explain simple things clearly. You answer one question at work, and suddenly the tone changes. You correct one false claim online, and people stop arguing facts and start attacking you. You say one accurate thing in a relationship, and the other person says, "You always think you know everything." That is a sign. When clarity feels offensive to people, it usually means it exposed confusion they were trying to hide. Sign 3. People interrupt you more when you are right. Watch what happens in group settings. The moment you start connecting the dots, someone cuts in. They joke. They change the subject. They suddenly misunderstand your point. Why? Because truth creates pressure. And insecure people relieve pressure by breaking your momentum. If they cannot beat the point, they try to break the delivery. That is not random. That is ego protection. Sign 4. They call you intense, arrogant, or hard to read. Not because you are showing off. Sometimes because you are calm, precise, and not easy to manipulate. At work, a sharper person gets labeled too much. Online, people say you are trying too hard the moment your point gets too accurate. In dating, the moment you ask one real question, the other person either steps up or pulls away. People often attack what they cannot comfortably dominate. Sign 5. You feel pressure to play smaller. This is the clearest sign of all. You already know when to stay quiet. You already know when telling the full truth will make the room colder. You have learned that if you speak at full strength, some people stop listening and start competing. So you simplify your words, lower your energy, act less sharp than you really are. That instinct did not come from nowhere. It came from experience. You learned that visible intelligence attracts resistance. And this is the deeper problem. When you reveal too much intelligence too early, people stop hearing your message. They start managing their insecurity. The boss feels challenged. the friend feels judged, the partner feels exposed, the audience online feels invited to attack. And once that happens, your intelligence starts costing you more than it helps you. If this sounds familiar, subscribe. Because what I'm about to show you is how intelligent people protect themselves in a world that punishes visible superiority and rewards emotional politics. This is not about pretending to be less. It is about knowing when full clarity creates power and when it creates unnecessary enemies. So what do? You hide the sharpness, not the substance. First, stop proving you are the smartest. Let people discover it slowly. At work, ask better questions instead of giving instant answers. On social media, say less than you know. In relationships, observe longer before explaining everything you see. The smartest person in the room does not need immediate recognition. They need strategic timing. Second, do not correct every mistake. Most people do not want truth in real time. They want comfort, status, and emotional safety. A Stoic understands timing. Just because you see the flaw does not mean you must expose it immediately. Sometimes restraint protects your position better than brilliance does. Third, make people feel safe before you make them feel wrong. This changes everything. Instead of saying, "That won't work," say, "There may be a better angle here." Instead of proving someone is confused, guide them to the conclusion. Instead of showing the full distance between your mind and theirs, shorten the distance. That is not weakness, that is strategy. Fourth, let results reveal your intelligence. The smartest person in the room does not need to win every conversation. They win by being right over time. Let the project succeed. Let the prediction come true. Let the chaos prove your point for you. Results create respect without triggering as much resistance. Fifth, keep your inner edge private. Not everyone deserves access to how much you see. Some people admire intelligence. Others punish it. Learn the difference. You do not need to dim yourself, but you do need discipline. Marcus Aurelius understood this. Power does not always announce itself. Often it stays measured, quiet, and controlled. That is why restraint matters. Not because your mind should be hidden forever. Because timing determines whether intelligence becomes influence or target practice. Final truth. If you are the smartest person in the room, your real advantage is not intelligence. It is restraint. Anyone can show how much they know. Very few can hide it, use it carefully, and move through the room without waking up every insecure ego around them. So if people get strange when you are clear, if they interrupt you when you are right, if they label you before they understand you, pay attention. You may not be imagining it. You may simply be seeing more than the room can handle. Hide your intelligence. Use it with precision. And let your results speak so loudly that your mind never has to.